Welcome to Keeping It Real with Power Platform, where we look at how real people use the Power Platform around the world to create awesome software solutions. And today, we have Brian Hodel from T-Mobile joining us from Seattle, Washington. Welcome, Brian, to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So tell me about your journey with Power Platform.
I started in Power Platform as a way to be able to do a process improvement. So part of that, the challenges doing process improvement in especially larger organizations is that you have to deal with the delays within IT and changing systems. So you make changes up and to the IT process, and then out to the IT process. There was always a barrier. When Power Apps was introduced years and years ago, it was just a very basic app, but I saw a lot of potential in it because now it allowed us to make changes in those, building forms and basic things in there that were really a challenge to do before. And I just dove into the platform as it became a platform. And then I ended up at T-Mobile around 7 years ago.
I know that you have creating solutions for tens of thousands of customers. Can you share your experience delivering and operating Power Platform at that scale?
Yeah, Orbit was originally an application that was built as the enterprise go-to-market platform, which is what it is. But it was intended to be always from the very beginning to be used for the entire organization. And it's really just grown in scope and in scale. And one of the reasons that we chose to build it on Dataverse was because we knew the potential of it. We knew that we could build very complex security models, which we have. And we could scale it because a good portion of Dynamics is on there. So the use case is already proven out. And our ability to change and shift and not be one of those IT barrier solutions that typically exist in that organization and show how things should be done.
So you have always been at the cutting edge of the Power Platform. Now you have been creating an enterprise production solution using Generative Pages. Can you show us some of that work?
Orbit is a Canvas app. It looks very nice. The reason we use Canvas app is because we really wanted to have that brand-focused interface that looked very T-Mobile and people recognized it. But we also had we had a lot of audience that we didn't want to have to put through training. So we wanted to build an interface that was intuitive, that we didn't have to say, here's a guidance document and here's videos. It should be very easy to go through. And we were able to do that with Canvas apps. We knew exactly where we wanted to put things. And we were able to build a variety of summary pages and details pages, and they're very dynamic depending on what initiative type, whether it's infrastructure change, a device launch, or promotion. What we're able to do more recently is utilize the generative pages to build those nice interfaces within the model-driven apps. And we've not only built them in the model-driven apps, but we've integrated them seamlessly. So we have the example where you can go into the devices section in the Canvas app, and the user can click a button and it opens up a new window that has the nav bar hidden and everything. So it's a really seamless experience. They don't really even see they're changing a different app. It's just this screen where they configure the devices, which is a very complex operation, a lot of different records, and we've made it very quickly with Generative Pages because we were able to go in there and tell it with prompts and say, hey, this is what we want, and work through that process with Generative Pages. And then we can embed it in the model-driven app. We can drop that user right into that record without them having to do an additional search. So it really brings those two types of application development sides together.
That is fantastic. And one thing that I'm curious, as you were building this experience, did you just prompt all the time, or did you take the code and edit it manually?
I definitely edited it manually. Both in the Generative Pages Studio, and then also took it and put it into Visual Studio Code, and was able to edit it there, which gives you a lot of capabilities because it's a code editor. And then we were able to use the Copilot, the GitHub Copilot within the Visual Studio Code to run certain things, to ask a question, say, is there a performance optimizations? Which gave us also availability to use the 15, 20 models, whatever were in there. And so I bounced different models to get different answers, to get this really nice user interface very, very quickly.
Super cool. And as you are delivering this experience, who are going to be the users and the target audience of this new experience that you are building with Generative Pages?
Everybody that uses Orbit, that's on the promotion side. So everything that we have a new promotion that launches out, we have a sale on something is our entire go-to-market team, anyone that's submitting those initiatives. So there are several thousand employees that interact with the app directly. But being that it is a single source of truth in the organization, Orbit, and the related applications, including the generative page, that data propagates through many other systems we've integrated with, and the organization relies on this as the source of data for everything. So really, in reality, the Orbit is used by the entire organization.
Brian, you're operating at very large scale, hundreds of thousands of users, solutions that need to work all the time for multiple years. And I know that you apply multiple different considerations when you are designing for scale with Power Platform. So is there any wisdom that you can share with the viewers of this video? Like, what's your thought process and how do you think about achieving the type of scale and reliability?
The first version of Orbit was actually built with consultants. So, and then I came on to maintain it was the intent. I looked into Dataverse and said, this is what we need for scalability. We weren't getting the performance with SQL just because of the very tight, complex security requirements. It's one of the reasons why I really dove into Dataverse and learned as much as I could around it. And then 2 years ago, published a book on Dataverse. I love the platform, and not just because it's what I use, but because it's so powerful and it's so easy to use. And there's really nothing you can't do.
That is wonderful. So, Brian, how can people learn more about your work and follow what you do?
You can look me up on LinkedIn. I'm pretty easy to find, a unique name, and there's some stuff on there. I love talking, so you can see me at the conferences. So I'm typically on stage at a few things at Power Platform Conference. But reach out. I like talking about this. I'm really excited about the platform. I'm really passionate about it. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank you very much, Brian, for being today with us. And thank you for watching. See you in the next episode of Keeping It Real with Power Platform. Bye for now.